Hello, and welcome to Cosmic Catholic. I'm your host, David, and the intention of this channel is that we look at the bigger picture of theology and how we can apply it to our lives today in a bigger way. The gospel last week was about the talents, and in summary, a wealthy landowner decides to go on a long trip and gives away talents, which historically are as a very large sum of money. 4 or 5 talents is equal to around 86 years worth of work, pretty much one's whole life, and gives away these talents to each according to their skills and abilities. Now pay attention to that word for a moment, because there is another scripture that says that we are each given different gifts. So according to our abilities, and then leaves. And 2 of those servants invest their talents, and their talents become more fruitful. But the other servant buries their talent for fear that they would spend it, and that it was good enough to bury, to hold, to hoard the talent and not invest it and lose the money. And the landowner comes back, and to the one who was fruitful, to those 2, says, blesses them, honors them, and welcomes them back into his kingdom. But the one who hoarded theirs, the landowner says, go, depart from me, and doesn't welcome them into his kingdom. So what's that about? Who's the landowner? Who's the servant? What is the talent? I had a mentor that said to me there are 2 ways. There are 2 forms of service: paid service and unpaid service. Avocation meaning other, calling, and vocation meaning calling, what one's built for, what one's intended for. And the intention was that most people have both, but the ideal is to merge them together, that your vocation is your avocation, that what you're doing and that brings you joy to do and to give is also how you are living and compensated and dwelling. So for example, a doctor chooses to be a doctor because they love helping people and they make a good living doing it. But most of us are bus drivers, or work at a computer desk, or work in an office, and then volunteer our time when we have it, the little time we do. Do you see that? That if we are doing both in the same job, we have much more time to spend. Whereas when we are doing each separately in separate jobs, our time is minimal to give, as well as our energy and everything else. The other piece of this is, who is the landowner? Well, the landowner is obviously someone who's very wealthy and who has all these talents to give. Now, short of saying Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or someone else, we take it to understand theologically the landowner is God, the Creator. And the Creator gives talents to its creation, us, the people, the servants. And the talents are our abilities to perform and to do well. It may or may not be what we get paid for. And the nature of learning is the ability to grow our talents. So investing in the talents that the servants did in the story is like us investing in our education, in our ability to understand our skills and to apply them. And that's what we need. That's what we need to do, is to take these talents and to embody them and to develop them. Easier said than done. See, the bigger picture here is that those of us, like myself, who end up taking, several jobs at once, are burned out and tired and exhausted and not ready to do any more work, but simply come home and veg out and relax, recreate. And so what do you say to that? One thought that has come up is the other idea that, is it possible that we're in the wrong calling? Is it possible that all the doors that keep shutting and the windows that keep slamming is because we're in the wrong calling? That what we chose to do was an accidental calling. It's how we've learned to make a living. It's how we've learned to survive, but it's not our calling. And so we have a choice, if that's the case, to either leave that place, that calling, or to choose to pursue what is our calling. And until that becomes fruitful, stay with the work that we're doing, but put the majority of our energy into our calling. So if you are called to be a minister and you are working as an IT person, then take any form and ability, any opportunity that comes up to minister. Volunteer of that time to minister. Put yourself in that space to minister. If an opportunity to get paid to minister comes up, take that as well. And trust that the Spirit is there to guide and lead and sustain and grow that talent. Then one does feel the fruitfulness. They gain the fruitfulness and they feel fulfilled. They find fulfillment. They find that they're filled in what they're doing. And I think that is for us as well. If we're in a job and we hate our job and we hate what we do, and every time we're finding ourselves with the words, I hate this job, and that's all we have, then it's very likely that at the end we will be turned away from the kingdom. Not because, and really not the end, because the bigger picture of the kingdom, theologically, being a heaven or a Garden of Eden where there is no pain, there is no sorrow, where all things are in alignment, is now. The very words of Jesus in Matthew's Gospel is, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Well, how is it possible 2,000 years ago that the kingdom of heaven was at hand? It's possible because the kingdom of heaven is Christ, the anointed, the one Lord who proceeds from the Father and the Son. And with the Father, with Creator, and with Son is adored and glorified, which is simply another way of saying activated, present, made known, aware, and living. And therefore, when we find that calling, we will feel alive. We'll feel like we're in that place. One more last thought is that sometimes to get to do the work of our dreams, everyone I know who has been successful in the work that they're doing and found joy and fulfillment didn't find it right away. There is hard effort still that has to take place in our human experience. Things don't just magically manifest in our lives. We can become aware of things, but that's very different than things becoming aware of us. And as we're aware of things, we can begin to journey closer towards them, to make decisions that lead us closer to having them, to experiencing them, to giving them, sharing them. So I think that is what we can take from the parable of the landowner and the talents. Until next time, my friends. Blessing.